The excitement is building, and for good reason. An astronomical visitor is on its way that promises to leave us in awe. A dazzling comet is heading toward the sun, and it will soon become a spectacular feature of our night sky. This isn't just any comet, but one that astronomers are calling potentially the comet of the century. It's Comet C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan, and it's already making waves across the world of astronomy and beyond. Discovered early in 2023, this comet has just left its cold home in the far reaches of the solar system, the Oort Cloud. Now, it's on its way toward the sun, where it will put on a dazzling display for anyone who dares to look up at the sky. If you live in the right parts of the world, October 2024 could be your chance to witness a celestial phenomenon that may not come around again for a very long time. But before we talk about the amazing things this comet will do, let's first dive into how it was discovered and tracked. After all, space is vast and the objects within it can be elusive. The discovery of C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan is a great example of the incredible work done by astronomers using the latest technologies. On January 9, 2023, astronomers working with the Purple Mountain Observatory in China made the initial discovery of what they thought was just a feint in the vastness of space. At first, it was assumed that the object might be a near-Earth asteroid, a type of space rock that could potentially pose a threat to our planet. However, as they continued their observations, astronomers realized that this object wasn't an asteroid at all, it was a comet. What was even more exciting was that this comet was coming from the Oort Cloud, a faraway and mysterious region at the edge of the solar system. The Oort Cloud is an area filled with icy bodies that orbit the Sun from a great distance. These icy objects are remnants from the early solar system, leftover pieces of material from the formation of the planets. When a comet emerges from the Oort Cloud, it's often a long journey before it reaches the inner solar system. As the comet nears the Sun, it begins to heat up, and the ices within it start to vaporize. This creates the distinctive glowing coma and tail that we associate with comets. In this case, C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan is on a path that will bring it close to the Sun, providing an opportunity for us to witness a stunning display in the sky. Tracking and studying comets is no small feat, especially given the vast distances involved. One of the challenges astronomers face is pinpointing the exact path of these objects, which can be erratic and difficult to predict. This is especially true for comets that come from the farthest reaches of the solar system, like the Oort Cloud. Comet C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan was initially observed as a faint object, but over time, astronomers were able to measure its orbit more precisely. As the comet drew closer to the Sun, its behavior became more predictable. It started to develop the telltale signs of a comet, an expanding coma and a tail, and that's when the excitement really began to build. As the comet approaches the Sun, it's expected to grow brighter and more visible, becoming a spectacular feature in the early morning sky. It's a moment that every space enthusiast and stargazer will want to witness. The potential for this comet to be one of the brightest we've seen in decades is what has earned it the moniker Comet of the Century. But what exactly makes a comet so special, and how does it differ from other celestial bodies like asteroids and meteoroids? This is where we need to get a little deeper into the science of these fascinating objects. Let's start with the basics. Meteoroids, asteroids, and comets are all different types of celestial objects that orbit the Sun. While they share some similarities, they each have unique characteristics that set them apart. Meteoroids are typically small chunks of rock or metal that are much smaller than asteroids. They can range in size from tiny particles of dust to larger objects that are still smaller than a rock. When meteoroids enter the Earth's atmosphere, they heat up due to friction with the air, causing them to glow and produce a bright streak of light. This is what we call a meteor, or shooting star. If a meteoroid survives the journey through the atmosphere and lands on the Earth's surface, it is referred to as a meteorite. Asteroids, on the other hand, are much larger objects that can range in size from a few meters to hundreds of kilometers across. These rocky bodies orbit the Sun in the asteroid belt, a region between Mars and Jupiter. Asteroids are essentially leftover building blocks from the formation of the solar system, remnants from the early days when dust and gas collided and formed the planets. While most asteroids are found in the asteroid belt, some, called near-Earth asteroids, have orbits that bring them closer to our planet. Asteroids are generally made of rock and metal, and unlike comets, they don't have tails because they don't contain the volatile materials, like ice, that cause the bright tails we associate with comets. Now, let's get into comets, the stars of the show. Comets are often described as dirty snowballs because they are made up of a combination of ice, dust, and rocky material. These icy bodies originate in the outer regions of the solar system, either from the Oort Cloud or the Kuiper Belt, which is a region just beyond the orbit of Neptune. When a comet gets close enough to the Sun, the heat causes the volatile ices within it to sublimate, meaning they turn directly from a solid to a gas. This process forms a glowing coma around the nucleus, which is the solid core of the comet. The Sun's radiation pressure and the solar wind then push this gas and dust outward, forming the comet's tail. This tail always points away from the Sun due to the force of the solar wind and radiation. It's this tail that makes comets such a breathtaking sight when they pass close enough to the Earth. Comets can vary greatly in size and brightness, and their behavior can be somewhat unpredictable. Some comets are bright enough to be seen without a telescope, while others remain too faint to detect with the naked eye. The key to a comet's visibility lies in its proximity to the Sun and the Earth, as well as the amount of gas and dust it releases as it warms up. The closer a comet comes to the Sun, the more it heats up, and the more gas and dust it produces, which in turn makes it brighter and more visible. In the case of Comet C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan, astronomers have already predicted that it could reach a brightness of around magnitude -3, which would make it as bright as Venus and more visible than many of the stars in the night sky. For comparison, the lower the magnitude number, the brighter the object appears. A comet with a magnitude of -3 would be an absolutely stunning sight, especially since it would be visible even in the daytime under the right conditions. But will it live up to the hype? This is where things get a little tricky. Astronomers can't always predict exactly how bright a comet will be, as its behavior depends on a variety of factors. The comet's core, for example, is made up of a mixture of rock, dust, and volatile ices. As it gets closer to the Sun, these ices will vaporize, but it's not always a predictable process. Some comets break up or disintegrate before they can put on the promised display. There are even concerns that Comet C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan might fall apart before it reaches its closest point to the Sun. Some experts, like Czech-American astronomer Zdenk Sanina, have speculated that the comet might not survive its journey and could disintegrate. However, this is by no means a consensus view. Many astronomers believe that the comet will indeed make it to perihelion, its closest point to the Sun, and put on a breathtaking show. If the comet survives, its closest approach to the Sun will occur on September 27, 2024, when it will be just under 60 million kilometers away from our star. That's roughly the distance between Mercury and the Sun. The comet will then continue its journey, and on October 1, 2024, it will be visible in the early morning sky for observers in the northern hemisphere. The comet will rise just before dawn, and if its tail is as spectacular as predicted, it will light up the eastern horizon with a beautiful display. By October 10, the comet will have moved into the evening sky, visible low in the western horizon just after sunset. On October 12, the comet will pass closest to Earth, at a distance of just 70 million kilometers, and it will reach its maximum brightness. It will be nearly as bright as Venus, making it easily visible to the naked eye. However, as the month progresses, the comet will gradually fade as it moves farther from both the Sun and Earth. By the end of October, it will no longer be visible without a telescope, and by November, it will be too faint for most observers to see even with binoculars. Even so, those lucky enough to catch a glimpse of Comet C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan in its prime will be witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime event. If you plan to view it, be sure to find a dark spot away from city lights for the best chance of seeing this bright, stunning comet. Whether you use binoculars or a telescope, the view will be absolutely mesmerizing, with the comet's tail streaking across the sky like a celestial firework. But here's the real kicker, After it leaves our neighborhood, Comet C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan will travel back into the outer reaches of the solar system, leaving the inner planets behind. It won't return for another 26,000 years, so this is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to witness its beauty. If you miss it, you might have to wait thousands of years before another chance like this comes around. So, mark your calendars, set your alarms, and get ready for a celestial show that will have you gazing at the stars in wonder. Comet C/2023 A3 Suchin Shan is coming, and it's bringing with it a cosmic spectacle that will be remembered for generations to come. Don't miss out. This is one of those moments in life where looking up at the night sky can remind us all just how awe-inspiring the universe truly is.